toe-to-toe, an all-out Brooklyn brawl.
Anything can happen.
I'm Head Honcho of Brooklyn.
Welcome to New York City. We are in the most populous borough of the city, Brooklyn, USA, home of the Barclays Center, where the Battle of Brooklyn will take place on Showtime Championship Boxing Saturday night. That's a live look here inside the Barclays Center. We're in the Geico Atrium. This is the official weigh-in of Daniel Jacobs taking on Peter Quillin. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Custer. Well, tomorrow night, two Brooklyn Knights will headline a doubleheader on Showtime Championship Boxing. Daniel Jacobs will take on Peter Quillin with Brooklyn bragging rights and a piece of the middleweight title on the line. You'll also see Jesus Cuellar. He will put his WBA featherweight title on the line against Jonathan Oquendo. Now, when you've got a fight of this magnitude, especially in this city, a city where so many great fighters were born, Mike Tyson, Mark Breland, Michael Moore, even our very own Paulie Malignaggi, all born here in Brooklyn. Well, folks, you need a boxing aficionado who's got some Brooklyn roots to help you out with this kind of a show. And so I got to bring in no one bigger and no one who has more Brooklyn roots than our very own Steve Farhood. How's that for an introduction?
I love it. I think my Brooklyn accent gave away where I'm from.
Listen, Steve, we got the Battle of Brooklyn here. And you know, we came down this road maybe a couple of years ago when our very own Paulie Malignaggi took on Zab Judah. I think the difference here, especially when we see tomorrow night, is you got two fighters in their prime and a title on the line.
Well, this is such a great matchup for so many reasons. You mentioned a couple of them. The reason I like this is this fight marinated in terms of how long we've been waiting for it. We knew this fight was going to happen, Brian, about 5-6 years ago, as soon as Peter Quillin moved to New York. And now it's for a title. The stakes are so high. It's coming at the perfect time. It's coming at the perfect venue. I'm excited.
Now, let's talk about a little bit about what's in store for this fight, because, you know, Daniel Jacobs, and people who watched our All Access, he even said, hey, this is a life-defining fight for me. Then you've got Peter Quillin. Listen, he's already been a champion. You know, he vacated that WBO belt. Talk to me about what's at stake for both fighters.
Well, what's at stake is huge because obviously there's a title at stake, obviously the bragging rights, but these two fighters want to be known as one of the top 2 or 3
Absolutely.
middleweights in the world. Gennady Golovkin is generally considered the best middleweight, but this winner will have a good claim to be right beneath that. What's interesting is something you just said. Daniel Jacobs says this is the biggest fight of his life. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. Maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. Peter Quillin's attitude is it's just another fight.
Right.
It's not that big a deal to me. So they're facing the fight in very different ways. We'll see if different ways they're facing it work for them.
Well, certainly we hope that you are enjoying this live stream of the Jacobs and Quillin weigh-in. Now, live championship boxing, you can see original series, you can see movies, you can see comedy, and a whole lot more, folks, when you download the Showtime app. You can start your free 30-day trial today. All you got to do is getshowtime.com. It is time to start this weigh-in. All the fighters are here. As soon as they weigh in, we're going to interview them as well. So for now, let me turn things over to my Showtime colleague. Here's the always classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you, and we welcome you to Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York, for the official weigh-in for our big night of action coming your way tomorrow night, brought to you by DeBella Entertainment and Showtime, sponsored by Corona, la cerveza más fina. Well, fans, we begin our weigh-ins with our first world title bout scheduled. 12 rounds of action for the WBA Featherweight Championship of the World. It is presented in association with TGB Promotions. At this time, we present and welcome to the stage the challenger from Vega Alta, Puerto Rico. His record stands at 26-4 with 16 knockouts, ranked the WBA #9 world contender. Please welcome Jonathan El Polvo Oquendo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite the defending champion to the stage at this time from Buenos Aires, Argentina. His record 27-1 with 21 knockouts. He is the WBA featherweight champion of the world, Jesus El Forastero Cuellar.
So this will be the first fight you see on Showtime Championship Boxing Saturday night. Jesus Cuellar, he's the champion, WBA featherweight title on the line against Jonathan Oquendo. And, you know, the last time we saw Oquendo, especially on Showtime Championship Boxing, he beats Johnny Gonzalez and surprised some people with that win, and that's how he got this fight against Cuellar.
Exactly right, Brian. The fact that he beat a puncher like Johnny Gonzalez, he's not going to be scared at all of Cuellar, but Cuellar brings it every round. He's an in-fighter. He's a strong physical fighter. He presents a very, very tough challenge for Oquendo.
Cuellar even talked about in our fighter meeting how he probably wants to have one more fight at this weight and then possibly even move up. But he said he would love not only to win this fight, but then to face either Abner Morris, who he says has been trolling him on social media, or even Leo Santa Cruz.
There are so many good matchups at featherweight. Hey, I wouldn't mind seeing him against Gary Russell Jr. That'd be an excellent matchup as well. So at 126, you just have so many good fighters.
This is one of those where you know is going to be an all-action fight, especially if you've seen Oquendo fight, if you've seen Cuellar fight. Listen, a lot of punches will be thrown Saturday night.
Well, indeed so. Cuellar only fights one way. He comes forward. Oquendo showed against Johnny Gonzalez that he could stand in the pocket with a big puncher. So you're right. This is the kind of fight that could steal the show.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to bring our fighters to the scale. We present first the challenger, making his first attempt at a world title from Puerto Rico, Jonathan El Polvo Oquendo. £125.25 pounds for Oquendo, 125.25 pounds. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to bring our defending champion to the scale. Making the first defense of his title from Argentina, the WBA featherweight champion of the world, Jesus El Forastero Cuellar. £125.25 pounds for the champion, 125.25 pounds.
So these guys will get ready to face off in just a moment as you see Cuellar holds up that WBA featherweight title belt. This should be an interesting fight. Both guys, interesting backstories. Oquendo, talking about someone who's gone through a lot in his life. I mean, car accident, motorcycle accident, where he broke some bones. He even lost his fiancée in the accident. Boy, he's had to deal with a lot outside of the ring, and yet has still maintained to have some success in the ring.
And sometimes, Brian, one fight turns it around for a fighter. And for Oquendo, that fight was against Johnny Gonzalez. We saw it on Showtime Championship Boxing a few months ago. And all of a sudden, he's fighting for a world title for the first time.
Let's see these guys as they get ready to face off, and let's look at the intensity between these two. Oquendo's talked about how much he's looking forward to fighting here in New York, having that New York backing behind him because he's Puerto Rican. Cuellar said, hey, look, it's New York City. I'm the champ.
versus the challenger Jonathan Oquendo. Opens up our card on Showtime Championship Boxing.
Once these guys get dressed, we'll talk to both fighters. Now, you know Cuellar is a southpaw. You know Oquendo. He says, you look at 4 of his last 5 opponents, they've been lefties, so he's accustomed to fighting guys who are southpaw.
Exactly right. No problem style-wise for either fighter.
Well, the challenger joins us right now. Jonathan Oquendo is with us. Peter Rivero will do the translation for us as well. Last time we saw you, it was a great win over Johnny Gonzalez. What should New York City expect to see from you Saturday night?
Mira, espero un gran combate, una gran guerra. Sé que Cuellar es un boxeador fuerte, aguerrido. Ese es mi estilo. A mí me gusta pelear y yo creo que hay blood on the ring ahí.
I expected a great fight on Saturday. I mean, will be a war again. I know that Cuellar like to fight, so will be blood in the ring on Saturday.
We saw Jonathan last time against Johnny Gonzalez. That was the biggest win of his career. What did that do? How did that change him mentally as a fighter?
Mira, la pelea de Victoria para mí fue excelente. Fue una pelea grandiosa. Sabía que tenía mucho que ganar y aquí estoy para los grandes retos como el Cuellar y vamos a hacerle una gran guerra.
That was an excellent fight for me, and I know that after that win, I will have this opportunity. So I'm here for Cuellar and to get the title back to my country.
Buena suerte.
Feliz Navidad a todos latinos y Dios los bendiga. Y esta victoria va a ser para Puerto Rico. Dios los
God bless
bendiga.
everybody, and this win will be for Puerto Rico. Thank you.
Gracias.
That's Jonathan Oquendo. You will see him taking on the champion, Jesus Cuellar. Let's bring in the champion here. Let's bring in Henry Gonzalez. He will do all the translation for us. All right, champ, what should we expect from you Saturday night?
¿Qué esperamos de ti este sábado?
Bueno, muchas gracias. Nada, estoy muy contento por pelear acá en Nueva York y que voy a hacer una gran pelea este sábado.
He says he's thankful to be here in New York, and he's going to give a good fight this Saturday. Good fight.
He's always exciting, always entertaining. Is he going to be as aggressive as we've seen him in the past?
Que eres una persona muy excitante, muy agresiva. ¿Vas a ser agresivo en esta pelea?
Vamos a salir a hacer un buen trabajo. Estoy preparado para los 12 rounds. He trabajado muy bien estos 3 meses acá en Estados Unidos.
He says he trained for 12 months. I mean, he's ready to fight for 12 weeks. He trained 3 months in California, and he's ready for the fight. He's going to be coming aggressive like he always does.
Me voy a llevar triunfo para Argentina.
And he's taking his victory to Argentina.
Congratulations and best of luck to you. All right?
Thank you.
Well, it is time for the main event. Daniel Jacobs, Peter Quillen to step on the scale. For that, let me turn things over to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Barclays Center here in Brooklyn for the official weigh-in for the main event of the evening, the battle for Brooklyn, 12 rounds for the WBA Middleweight Championship of the World. Brought to you by DeBella Entertainment and Showtime, sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina. Well, before we bring out the defending champion, the challenger is already on the stage, ready to go. From Brooklyn, New York, by way of Grand Rapids, Michigan, he is undefeated at 32-0-1 with 23 knockouts. Ranked the WBA number 5 world contender. Please welcome the former WBO middleweight champion of the world, Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillen. Peter Quillen weighs in at 159 pounds. Already 159 pounds for the challenger, Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillen. And now making his way to the stage, we have the defending world champion from Brooklyn, New York. His record 30 wins, 1 loss, 27 big wins coming by way of knockout. He will be making the 3rd defense of his title. Here is the WBA middleweight champion of the world, the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs.
Well, you see Daniel Jacobs getting ready to step on the scale. Kid Chocolate at 159. He told us he's in the best shape of his life. And let me tell you something, that's probably the best we've ever seen Kid Chocolate here. He was ripped.
Indeed so, and that added significance to that weight. He admits that he's not that far from jumping up to super middleweight. So this could be a last stand at middleweight for Quillin.
Daniel Jacobs weighs in at 159.5 pounds. 159.5 pounds for the defending and reigning WBA middleweight champion of the world, the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs.
Daniel Jacobs comes right in at 159 as well. So both of these guys in terrific shape. You know, Jacobs has talked about this is a career-defining, life-defining fight for me.
Both big middleweights, tall middleweights, rangy middleweights, strong middleweights, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them fight at super middleweight someday. But right now, they are in sterling condition, and I think both of them are probably very happy right now because they've made weight.
You know, the interesting thing was even Peter Quillin talked about it in our fighter meeting. You know, we've known each other a long time, and we're not friends. And, well, I tell you, I can't wait to see this stare down as these two look at each other's eyes. This has been 5-6 years in the making. Here we go.
Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is the battle for Brooklyn, the WBA middleweight championship of the world. The champion, Daniel Jacobs, the challenger, former champion Peter Quillin. It is our main event of the evening, Showtime Championship Boxing, brought to you by DeBella Entertainment.
Listen to the crowd. Hey, how about that intensity? and listen to Daniel Jacobs. He's yelling at the Quillin fans saying, "This is my city."
And what I like best, it reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno with their bodybuilding stare-off. You know, they're flexing for the crowd to show what kind of shape they're in.
Listen, I know there's a title on the line, but those Brooklyn bragging rights are just as important to these guys.
Every day, Brian, whoever loses this fight is going to have to see people who are going to remind him that, hey, Quillin beat you or Jacobs beat you. It's rough, and the stakes are very high for that reason.
I'm telling you, listen to this. You can see Jacobs screaming Brownsville. I mean, this is unbelievable. You hear people chanting Kid Chocolate. I'm telling you, folks, you do not want to miss it. Showtime Championship Boxing Saturday night.
The atmosphere we feel in here at the Geico Atrium is going to be what we feel tomorrow night.
Of course, we're going to interview and talk with both fighters. But this should be something, and it's going to come your way. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Here's the champion. There's the challenger, Peter Quillin. Quillin, the former WBO middleweight champion, taking on right there, that man there, the WBA middleweight champion, Daniel Jacobs. Let's bring in the champion. Boy, that was an intense stare down. Can you give us a sense of what you were saying to Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin?
This is my city. Brooklyn, I run Brooklyn. You're going to see that Saturday night, and that's exactly what I told him.
Daniel, you won your world title at the Barclays. You had your first bout after returning from cancer at the Barclays. Why is this fight, being in Brooklyn, so special that makes it a little even better than it would have been somewhere else?
Because he made his name here in Brooklyn too. Brooklyn adopted him. But you cannot call yourself the Brooklyn champ if you wasn't born and raised here. Brownsville, Brooklyn, we're going to be in effect tomorrow night. I promise you. I promise you.
Listen, we know you're the champion. He says, look, I don't have the belts, but he's been calling me out because I've got something that he wants. What do you think he means by that?
I want that Hershey chocolate. That's it. I got a sweet tooth. That's all I want. And then once I get that, we're going to move on to bigger and better things. That's it. But tomorrow night going to be epic. Trust me. Oh, trust me. It's going to be special.
He's Brownsville's very own. He's the champion, the WBA middleweight champion, Daniel Jacobs. Best of luck to you, champs. Best of luck to you.
Good luck, Daniel.
Let's bring in the challenger. This is Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin. Listen, I mean, that was intense. Not only that stare down. So I'll ask you the same question. He's called you out. You said it. You said, listen, I don't even have the belts, but I got something he wants. What is that?
Well, you know, I got Brooklyn right now. You know what I mean? Like this is where I live at when I reside. I wasn't born here, but it's a shame that I'm not from here and they took me in like they own begotten son. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to inspire people from Brooklyn. Being from Grand Rapids, Michigan is a special thing. And look, you see it's intense, but I'm having fun at my job.
Chocolate, a lot of people think that maybe because the two of you do respect each other as fighters, it might be a little more of a boxing match, but will the crowd force you guys into trading punches and make it a little more of a brawl?
I mean, like, when you from the street, I'm from the street, so I know that I can be in the clinches like that and throw punches and do what I gotta do. But 100%, I already feel like Danny's out his character. This is not how he acts. You know what I mean? This is me. I'm always gonna be me. I shine fiercely every time I get to step on this platform. So when it comes to being a boxer or being a puncher, whatever I gotta do to win that night, that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm coming to hit him hard.
We know that the title is on the line, but look, there's bragging rights on the line. Which one's more important, that title or the Brooklyn bragging rights?
Me winning, period. You know what I'm saying? Because me winning, I'm taking the bragging rights and I'm taking that book and I'm taking Brooklyn with me. Who coming with me?
Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin. Best of luck to you, Peter.
Good luck, man.
Well, give me a final thought.
I think there's a lot of psychological game playing at this point, Brian. Daniel says that this is the most important fight of his life, adding pressure. He's claiming that he's the real Brooklynite, which he is. Peter was born in Grand Rapids. And Peter now saying Daniel's acting out of character. Clearly the pressure's getting to him. So they're both trying to, you know, dig into each other a little bit, get that little bit of psychological edge before the first punch is thrown.
Yeah, well, appreciate the insight. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's like old times with us together,
Exactly.
back together again. Folks, all this action, it comes your way tomorrow night, and all the action starts on Show Extreme, 7 o'clock Eastern and Pacific. You'll see Chris Algieri, Marcus Brown, in fact, for Steve Barhood, Barry Tompkins, they will call those fights. And then it is Showtime Championship Boxing. Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Daniel Jacobs puts his title on the line against Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin. We also want to remind you, Showbox, The Next Generation, it returns Friday, December 11th, 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. We've also added Showtime Boxing International. Andy Lee puts his title on the line against the undefeated Billy Joe Saunders. It comes your way Saturday, December 19th, 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. And folks, at the beginning of the new year, the big man comes to the big city. WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder returns to Showtime Championship Boxing. That's Saturday, this January 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Listen, you can subscribe to the Showtime app, stream live sports events, hit movies, original series, a whole lot more. To start a 30-day free trial, it's free. Go now to getshowtime.com. And if you want to get in on the action on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all you've got to do is use the hashtag JacobsQuillin. And for more information on this fight and a whole lot more, you can go to our website at show.com/sports. That's going to do it here from the Barclays Center. I'm Brian Custer. I'll see you tomorrow night on Showtime Championship Boxing.
This is a vicious sport. I'll be coming to take his head off.
I come from the street, I come from nothing, I'm trying to hurt him.
And he got hurt, but not right.
Toe to toe, an all-out Brooklyn Raw.
Anything can happen.
I'm head honcho Brooklyn.
What we do has consequences. Don't waver.